Hey, one question about your next writing project, if I might, and then I promise I'm not going to keep Chris Matthews all to myself. We'll make sure we include telephone calls and folks who are here at SiriusXM with us as well. You know that I'm troubled by this climate of polarization. I think we should all be troubled by this climate of polarization. And I often find myself saying, well, it's a shame we don't have Tip and the Gipper having a cocktail at the end of the day.
Well, don't jump into the ethnic notion that the Irish get together and drink. Because this
it had nothing to do with them being
Issue said
Irish.
how to drink. Yes, it is. Yeah, I know the game that's being played here. I want to try to shatter that Irish BS right off the bat of this book. Reagan didn't drink. Tip never drank on the job. And the deals they cut, the really important stuff like saving Social Security and trying to balance the budget in the TEFRA Act in 82 and reforming the tax system wonderfully, although it's been screwed up ever since, in 86, and the Anglo-Irish Accord. All those things, and immigration reform, if they ever enforced the damn thing, Simpson-Mazzoli was a good bill. They did everything right when they got down to it. And there's a couple lines in the book where I've come across where Reagan would say, it's amazing what you can get done if you don't care who gets credit for it. And Tip said the almost exact same thing after the tax reform bill. It's amazing when you get together when you operate in a bipartisan fashion. But it wasn't over drinks. It was serious, deliberative government. These guys were professionals, and the great thing they had going for them, if Ronald Reagan said it was all right to do this, the conservative movement said it was all right. If Tip said it was all right, they were authentic people, authentic liberal and authentic conservative. They weren't playing a game. So that when they did something, it meant something because they did it. They were that real. And I think that's what we're missing today. Does anybody think Boehner's a Tea Partier? No. He's just a front man.
I think he would have
He's scared to death of those crazy people. And Eric Cantor's not a Tea Partier either. He's playing the game. McCarthy's probably not either. Dan in the body of the beast, if you will, in that party is very right-wing and against any kind of tax deal. And I understand it. I understand. They're against big spending. They didn't like W doing all that stuff. But I think that they don't have those authentic leaders that we had back then that could say, for example, when Nixon went to China, who could complain? Nixon said it was all right. It's been 50 years trashing anybody who had said you want to deal with China, right? So authenticity, I think, was a big thing with both of them.
Look at what's going to happen today in the Senate on this gun bill. I mean, are you as shocked as I that the net of all of these shooting incidents is probably going to be zero legislatively?
Yeah. Well, we saw that coming, but for a while, at the beginning of the week before the horror up in Boston, I thought there was something bubbling up that may not have quite made it. But I think in a way, you know how in a basketball game when the other team's it's doing showtime and rocking and rolling, the other coach calls timeout. You know, you stop the action because they're just too hot. Well, I think in a way this week, although nobody blew the whistle, it just stopped. And I think this distraction up in Boston, the tragedy, probably slowed down that late momentum. But I'm not sure. I think it would have gone up to like 58 votes rather than maybe it'll end up at 54, 53. I think it's sort of crested.
Well, what explains,
I don't think they're getting anywhere near 60.
What explains the disconnect between the polling data with which we're all familiar, where the American people want something done on an issue like universal background checks, and the inability in the Senate today to move that forward?
Career politics. If you want a career in politics, you don't want to have your whole career with that mark against you with the NRA, because that 30% of your district or your state is going to never forget it. They're going to campaign. They're going to pay against you, vote against you, talk against you, and it's never going to go away. And that's the power of where the other people see, like regular people. I'm not knocking gun owners or Second Amendment people even, but normal people have a number of concerns: their job, their husband's job, their wife's job, the kids, health care, retirement. Where are they going to go on vacation this summer? They're normal people. What are we going to watch on TV tonight? Where are we going this weekend? Can we afford to go to a movie? Can we buy new shoes? They have a lot of concerns. Gun owners, one concern. And if that's going to be their voting issue, and everybody else is going to vote on the issues of pro-life, pro-choice, all those other concerns they have, whether we go to war, whether they're hawkish or not, or dovish, most people have a lot of different things they put together. But imagine one side of your electorate, maybe 30%, only votes against you. That means you've got to get a huge chunk of that other 70% to survive. Well, that's almost impossible.
We need to stir passion in the mainstream of this country.
I don't think
That's
Bloomberg's going to do it. I think it's going to have to happen with people who just learn the difference between semi-automatic weapons and shotguns and everything else. But the idea of a semi-automatic with a 30-round clip is totally different than most people are used to. Most people don't have those in their homes.
Let me quickly go to Salt Lake City and welcome Mickey. Mickey, you're on POTUS with Chris Matthews. A brief comment, please.
I believe the Second Amendment is subject to repeal at this point because there's no longer a need for the militias. And there's quite a bit of language in the Constitution as well as subsequent laws to say it's directly related to militia.
If we don't get something done, Chris, in the aftermath of Giffords and Sandy Hook and Aurora,
three-quarters of the states to ratify that kind of change.
But if we don't get something done in the aftermath of these shootings, how is there ever prospect for significant change? I don't see it.
All I know is when Bobby Kennedy was shot, I wrote a letter to my congressman, first time and last time in my life. We tried. We got a little something done. We got a little something done in 94. It takes the alignment of the stars. It takes probably two Democratic House and Senate. It takes a Democratic president, just in partisan terms, because the Republicans they do believe in same-sex marriage when it comes to Wayne LaPierre. I think they all married him. And so I think there's a problem with that party. I don't know why they've become the NRA party, but they have.